Zono. Featuring my great dad, the legendary Akka man.
All right. Good evening to Waya or Bota. Abi. Um, I greet all of you. Um, happy Sunday to to all of us, all of you. Happy Sunday to all of you, and for today's very exciting program. Um, so Waya or Bo here. Today's topic is quite very exciting, but before then, I'd like to talk briefly of one or two things. Then before we go straight to the topic, and as you can see, we now have an open line where people can call through to ask to either contribute, or contribute or to ask questions. Yeah, either you contribute or you ask questions. So there's an open line, and so I don't want it to sound unidirectional. I want it to be front and back. Like people can be able to ask questions. Anybody can be able to ask questions. Uh, and as far it's within the tenets of um, within the tenets of decorum. All right, I don't shy away from questions. All right. Anybody can call with Yoruba persons and Igbo people. All of them can control the program. And as far that we are working within the tenets of decorum, tenets of decorum in the sense that I tiebo, no insults, just questions that you're willing to ask. All right. If you also want to discredit, because that's what it's all about, discredit all of my teachings. If you see that um, have been lying all of this time, because I want, if there are opinions about some a particular topic, All right. So it's either I believe that the other party is lying, or I believe that I was the one that was lying. Um, so there is now an avenue for us to correct ourselves and um, take corrections, and make make it as educational as possible, make it as academic as possible. So we have a call line open for people to call through, and for people to call through and ask whatever questions that they want to ask, whether it's related to this topic or not related to this topic. All right, but B, having said that, there's a particular trend going up. The trend is about one of my Shakiri brothers sent it to me. Some certain person said that the Adan Eben, if I have the, I'm supposed to have, I'm supposed to have that that particular article in question. Um, Another Eben that was, they said that the Adan Eben was invented. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. I'm just trying to remember what that argument was. That the Adan Eben was invented, and it was invented by the Shekiri people. According to the writer said that the word Adan Eben was never written in any Benin books prior before 1968. All right, that's what was sent to me. A friend of mine sent that that write up to me. Basically, a friend of mine sent that write up to me. Basically, I didn't reply him because I just didn't know where to start from. First, because he's one of those Ishekiri people that probably believes he's a Yoruba person and all of that. So when I know that someone have a premeditated mindset about some certain things, I don't waste my time to try to explain. But for the case, for the fact that it could have reached out to some of you, and I just wanted to quickly describe. I didn't read it per se, but there's this line I read. It was that no Benin historians ever wrote anything about the Adan being belonging to the Benin people prior before 1968. So, according to him, it was the third or the fourth edition of Jacob Owade Araiwa in 1968 edition. So probably he was not opportune to read the 1953 edition. He was not opportune to read the 1934 edition. He was not privileged to read the 1931 edition. 1931 edition was written in Edo language, Ihere Vitendo, wherefore, obviously, Igare had mentioned Adanebe as a ceremonial insignia and an insignia of authority. All right, ceremonial insignia and insignia for authority. Okay, so it was not one done. It was not the Atuwashe the first that introduced the Ada Anebe into the history of the Yoruba people. The history of the Ishekiri people. All right, it was Jinowa the first that introduced the Ada, and that was the Ada that was given to him by his father to authorize him to create a dukedom of his own. All right, everyone is aware that one of the way to identify all of the Benin descendants of the people who got their authority from Benin, old Benin kingdom, was that Ada and Ebe. So the Obas of them gave these authorization through this insignia, this through the sword of authority called the Ada, to a lot of these kingdoms. So I wonder why a lot of people, modern people now, want to try to revisionize a lot of these things. Even the Yorubas were not trying to say Eben is Ebe and all of that. So it was really shocking. So Oromia never brought Adanebe to Benin. Ogisoe in 66 BC introduced Adanebe to the Benin history. So something that was already introduced about 850 years or so, about 800 years before the coming of Oromia into our Benin history. It's now what some Yorubas are now saying that the Oromia, it tends like every single thing the Yoruba tends to claim. Who invented the Adanebe? It's a simple question. Ogisoe invented Adanebe. So that's a very simple question. Everybody in Benin history, anybody that has a little knowledge about Benin history knows that Ogisoe introduced the Adanebe into Benin history. So it was long, hundreds of years. And so we are talking about almost about 800 years earlier before Oromia. All of that. So it shouldn't be, I don't think any of this should even be contextual. All right. And the guy even went to say that the Quinidia face, it's actually a male, and that it was also Atowashe the first, the Don Domingo, that's a face mask. So I did easy question. I think he was asked some very few easy questions out there. I don't like to deliberate on issues that doesn't really head sway some brandish sort of historical narrative. One of which is if you say that Queen Idia, okay, a very good example is the Ida. Okay, that means the Ida people that has a replica of the Queen Idia mask. At what time? At what time did Christopher Jacob? It's AD 40 BC to 16 AD. 40 BC to 16 AD is 56 years. So 16 AD is AD, not C, or Christ era. But that's C, yeah. It could be C or after the death of Christ. But that's not I'm just that's not the topic we're talking about. So I'm just giving it. So the other guy also said that the Quinidia mask is from well, it doesn't seem he was joking though. But so that means the replica of that Quinidia mask is with the Atta of Igala. So it therefore means at what time of history did the Shekiri, if he says that it was a Shekiri king that the Quinidia mask belongs to, at what time in the Shekiri history? Anyway, well, I don't pick offense about why I don't pick offense in all the things the guy has been saying. He's trying to give the glory of the Benin to the Oluzawari, which is beautiful. It's our song. So if the Oluwawari is not the big person, the big king, well, we are proud that one of our sons is not a big king. So I really don't pick offense in some of these things. I will only pick offense if it's given to probably the Oni of Ife, or some people who are not even related to our Benin history. All right, so I don't pick offense. So, like I said, there's open line. If you have any contrary opinion to all of my teachings, you can call through, and then we can have a real intellectual conversation. So, now today we're going to talk about. I'm going to refresh our mind of what we talked about. This is the part 2. The part 1 was Paidu, Akka, Efa, Emehi, Ubini, igodomigodo Edo. All right, we're going to break it down in series. We've done series 1. This is series 2. Under the series 1, I like to refresh our minds to understand critically what those arguments basically were, what I presented. Because of the modern times where a lot of people are now finding ways to render sort of our history to oblivion. Okay. Okay, they are trying to do that. They're trying to do that. So they were not saying that Paidu it's a okay. I think we have a lot of wahalas. We have a lot of wahalas daily. We have big wahalas daily. I have to confess. All right. It's either today we're dealing with Igbo people, tomorrow we are dealing with Yoruba, and now they are just adding Shekiri wahala to our own already big wahala. So we tend to be dealing with a lot of people basically on history. All right. No, no. Um so all of that. So the foundation of our class established that Paidu was born here. All right. In our class, I was trying to establish some certain premium towns in Edo land that was ascribed to be very foundational to our history. In there, I'd said a parable or something that has now become extant of our history. Utogbe, Utalaka, Ivaniana Bidu. Utogbe, Utalaka, Ivaniana Bidu. Then I went further to explain that Ogbe and Alaka are two different entities or two different communities or two different establishments. And I said we should also understand that Alaka, while standing on its own, have a peripheral towns that grew around it. All right. Then I talked about there was a meeting point of old, Ulokogbe Alaka, that there was a meeting point of old where the Alaka territories or the Alaka province or Alaka quarter or Alaka village had a meeting point. It's conjoined with Ogbe, and that place is called Ogbe Nalaka. All right. Then I went further to say in that our class that Ogbe Nalaka should not be misinterpreted for Ogbe Laka. Ogbe Laka it's a recent creation. All right. It's a guild of drummers. It's a recent creation. It's a guild that was recently created and all of that. So it's a guild that was recently created and should not be mistaken for any of these things. Ogbe Laka, Ogbe Nalaka, Alaka, and all of Ogbe's are not of the same. Omoigbe Collins, I know you are a Biafra person. If you insult any person on this platform again, I'll block you off. All right? I've told you can't leave your platform, your Biafra platform, and come to our platforms and start insulting people. All right? He has always been a supporter of Biafra. I see him. He's my friend on Facebook. All right? But obviously, you know me. If anybody knows me very well, no, Bright Oloton, don't take him serious. It's one of the outcasts of Benin Extract or whatever. I don't know whether another person is using this account. It's one of those. Avoid him. All right? Okay. All right. So, on my platforms, I do not tolerate insults. Please. There should be decorums. If you don't... all right? All right. If you're not I didn't get your question. Was any question asked? Was any question asked? If any question was asked, probably I didn't see it. Ask the question again. All right. So our lines are also up. You can call so that people can also learn from such conversations. Okay. Okay. Please. I don't. I don't want to be distracted. They say blocking physically and spiritually. How do I block him? No, I can block him physically, but you can go ahead and block him spiritually. Only my mind I block on my spiritually. But Maggie on him. All right. So that was our first series number 1. I took time to analyze all of those things. I took time, basic time to analyze some of these steps. All right, a lot of these steps, all of these premium. Then I went further to talk about iduin. I went further to talk about ubekun. Then I went further to talk about I went further to talk about doing yoto. I went further to talk about idun. All right, the second place, the palace of the Ogishos was established. I went further to talk about. Then I went further to talk about Ogbe. All right, I was just talking about basically a lot of historical places and how they came to be established. All right, we're talking about pre-Ogiso and pre-Ojonwe Ogiso eras. We're talking about almost the foundational eras of the histories of the Edo people. All right, so these are part of the history that we are talking about now. We're not talking about Ogiso. All of this history that we are now talking about is long before the era. Okay, I remember I talked about. There's something I talked about. I'm trying to. Yes, I obelakaeo oto. Get it? I was trying to explain. If you're on that program, Mr. Efosa, I was trying to explain otogbe, otalaka, evaniana bidu. Okay, I remember I explained that Ogbe and Alaka are two different towns. All right, so that means maternally, Ogbe Idu came from either Ogbe or Alaka. Paternally, either he comes from Ogbe or Alaka. So I explained all of these things. I think you should go and look for the part 1 series. You should go and look for part 1 series so that we can. We don't get to be driven back a little bit. We don't get to be driven back a little bit. Okay, a little bit. We don't get to be driven back a little bit. So these are the foundations of what we talked about. But know that according to the legend, what the legend had, there's a song. I sang it all the time. Otogbe Otalaka. All right. So that was the story that was passed across years, ages. All right. So it therefore means that what the oral, those guys who documented the history was trying to pinpoint clearly that there is a difference between Ogbe and Alaka. All right. And that is very clear. I went further to talk about the 13 pilgrimage stations. All right. There is Ihimi Ogbe, Olugano Ihimi Alaka, Otogbe, Otalaka, two different entities. So you get it, which is different from Ogbe Alaka, which is different from Ogbe Laka. So I've explained all of that. Now I've explained the life and times of Idu Paidu in the Benin soil. Now, why did I took my time to explain that All right, I took my time to explain that because I didn't want people to give an alien antecedent to Paidu. I didn't want anybody to give alien antecedent to Paidu. All right, now why it was very critical that I needed to take time to analyze who Paidu was in those times was because it is also for us to note that Ema Biduni or Maki Soderi, but it shows that history can no longer remember. History can no longer remember, all right, who were the names of his parents. What were the names of his father? What was the name of his mother? History can no longer remember that. Now, according to what's his name? According to Professor O.S.B. Omorige, he talked about the age of his sonoro. He talked about that there was what was called, what world historians knew as the age of his sonoro, all right? The prepluvial cataclysm, all right? The prepluvial cataclysm that he was trying to explain was the age at which there was the world flooding, not the biblical flooding, all right? Utogbe Nalaka is one. Oh, it's not one, sir. Utogbe Utalaka is not one. Alaka is different from Ogbe. I've talked about, I think I went further in that our series. I'm referring to Amaya Evans. It's not one because I talked about of the 33, I think 31, is it 31 or 33 premium communities that makes Benin City. Premium communities that makes Benin City of the old. Ogbe is classified as its own community. Alaka is classified as its own community. All right? It's classified as its own community. Okay? So basically, you have to get that one correctly. So there are two different things. So like I was saying, according to O.S.B. Omorige, he had noticed that during the prepluvial cataclysm, in other words, in big English, what it means is that the age of Isonoro, the age of the great flooding, there was a great flooding that happened. All right? I've done a video, an extensive video. I think a lot of us have watched that video. Uhe versus Ile-Ife. All right? A misconstrued tale. All right? The tale of a misconstrued history. All right? This is what really happened. When the great flooding happened, all right? I don't like talking about this part of our history, though. It's quite very complicated. But when that kind of event happened, the Benins, or I don't know what they were called at that time, the Idu people, all right, the sons of the Idu, including their father, their progenitor now, the Idu, they traveled up north, all right, to look for a common place, to habitate. So it was recorded that flooding took over part of almost all the part of present-day southern Nigeria, all right, because, you know, we're close to the shoreline, or the shoreline. We're close to the Atlantic line, all right. We're close to the transatlantic ocean, okay, all right. So all of these people traveled. So in other words, there was a particular point in our history we moved. We all left the Edo land and traveled up north, all right, below a place, a confluence down below present-day River Niger, which the Benin called Ohimi. The River Niger in Benin is called Ohimi, Oshimowin. That's what we call River Niger. For some of you who are not aware. All right. We settled in present day, what is believed, present day Kogi State. All right. Present day Kogi State. We settled there in present day Kogi State. All right. We first of all have to get this. We first of all have to get this story very right. So a lot of people have always asked me this question. The question that they have asked is, where did the Benin people originate from? All right. My answer to that question is very simple. The Benin people did not originate from anywhere. Oh, sorry, they did not originate from anywhere. They originated from where we are now. All right? We originated, just like I have a very strong scientific background. And one of the neo-Darwinism theories was that evolution took place in different places at different time or the same time on the surface of Earth. All right, for those who believe, who have a scientific background, understands that there was not an actual spot that humanity started from. Humanity started from different spots of the surfaces of the Earth. There's not an actual spot that where it called the creation spot. It's only the Christian, the religious people that try to have a creation spot. Like the Christians believe that is the Garden of Eden. All right? But scientifically, there were multiple creations of living things in different places, different surfaces of the earth, different or at the same time. All right? So just like people were created in Egypt, just like the Benin people were also created in Edo land. So I'm not overly interested that on all of the migration theory that was propounded by the likes of Jacob Uwade-Agarewa. Now, why did Jacob Uwade-Agarewa? It's not as if he didn't write out of authority. He wasn't writing out of authority. He was writing out of an hypothesis, which the later African historians regards as Hamitic hypothesis. Well, it is always usually believed that great civilization. Well, that's what I want to trash out now. Obaseki Chedrak. That's what I want to. That's what I want to trash out now. Jacob Uwade-Agarewa, late Jacob Uwade-Agarewa, late D.N. Oronsai propounded a theory that the Benins migrated. That the Benins migrated from Egypt. All right. Now, but you must understand, those theories were anchored not on fact, were anchored on a hypothesis, and that hypothesis is Hamitic. That's what historians of later years now call Hamitic hypothesis. One, I've done an extensive research on the lives and times of Jacob Uwade-Agarewa. One of the greatest influences that one of the greatest influences on the lives of Jacob Uwade-Agarewa that Jacob Uwade-Agarewa actually studied a lot of his work was Percy Amory Talbot. All right, he studied a lot of Talbot's work, and Talbot's were one of those how do I call it racist historians that believe that black people cannot have any good civilization. Blacks cannot be great. Anything that has to do with the black people, anything that has to do with the black people is archaic. Anything that has to do with the black people is backward. Anything that has to do, the black people cannot conceive ideas that can birth any known civilization. So he now looked at it that, okay, since the Benin people or part of the Western African people undergo some sort of civilizations that varies in magnitude. He now said that, for example, the Benin people that had a mammoth civilization of the old cannot achieve that kind of civilization except they are being connected to a white man's civilization. At that time of history, the white people didn't know that the original Egyptians were black, actually. They didn't know. So because they felt that the Egyptians are white people, so every other civilization in Africa has to come from them, because they believe that the blacks cannot on their own be civilized. So that is why most of the historians, like Percy and Moritabod, have proposed an hypothesis that all of these civilizations that are black origin had an origin to Egypt, which they believe were white people. Wrongly though, which they believe that the original Egyptians were actually black people. But to them, they were not a counter research to have proven that the original Egyptians were black. At that time, the world still believed that the original Egyptians were white people. So then I said that the likes of the Benin Empire and all of that couldn't have gotten the Azum and all of that, the Songhai, the Mali, the Ghana Empire and all of that shouldn't have gotten that kind of fantastic civilization except they are coming from Egypt. So that's what Egariwana wrote, because that's what he learned from. That he learned from his mentor, that all these civilizations also come from Egypt. But I don't believe that the Benins came from Egypt. All right, okay. If the Benins came from Egypt, where did the Egyptians came from? Okay, let's start asking questions. All right, these are lots of questions. Where did the Egyptians came from? All right, some people believe that the earliest lives came from the valley of the Nile. All right, and all of that. But the question, where did the Egyptians came from? People are not able to answer. Oh, it gets more cumbersome for us to start fringing when they are not academic evidence to prove that. So to me, I just believe, personally, that the Benin's didn't migrate from anywhere. We were created here just like God created the Egyptians in present-day Egypt. Just like God created the Ethiopians in present-day Ethiopia. And all of that. All right? So, these are basic. These are basic intellectual conversations that could that I think we can at all times continue to have. All right, so that how do I put it? So that we can have a robust, so that we can have sort of a very robust research being flipped into our already very rich history. All right. So, but that's my belief. Okay. So, like I was saying, there was an heavy flooding. The word called, what historians call prepluvial cataclysm. All right. The flood that took larger chunk of the entire world. So the Benins also observed that flooding crisis. And so majority of the Benin people traveled up north, all right, to a present day, which we believe to the present day Kogi state. We're not the only ethnic groups that traveled there. It was also believed that the earliest, I don't know what they are called, Edekri, okay, the earliest Yoruba people, okay, well, rightly said, Edekiri, Edekri, whatever, their original name, not the one that the Fulani named them, maybe their original name. So some of these other ethnic nationalities also, or tribal groups also came to Uhe. All right? At that time when the formation of Uhe was being formed, all right, other civilizations, which one of the oldest civilizations in Africa is the Nuke, or the Nok civilizations of the Benue Plateau regions, okay? The Benue Plateau region of present in Nigeria. So there was a very old civilization called the Nok civilization. So it was already dwindling. So some the remnants of the Nok civilizations, coupled with some other present day Southerners, they all came to a place that eventually the Benins eventually knew or regarded as the Benins eventually regarded as Uhe. Okay, so that guy is a very misguided person. All right, he came to my platform to just say I'm dead. All right, okay. I love blocking. All right, all right. So so came and a civilization was built, and that civilization okay. Why is it that only the Benin Edo people that bear names of Edo, but other tribes like Esan don't bear Edo on their names? That's a very interesting. I think I've answered that in one of our live programs. I've answered that. So some people can remember that I've answered that question. Why predominantly the present day the Benin people, like you look at him, someone is already Idubo, and all of that. Okay, it's a funny question that you just ask. It's a funny question that you just asked. Do you know why I said it's a very funny question that you just asked? The Igbo said that the do person, okay, that Idu is an Igbo man and all of that. But in the entire Igbo land, there's all right, nobody bears Idu as enshrined in Benin. Idu Bowa, Idu Boy, Idu Say, Idu Riase, you know? What was it? After the flooding. The Idu people, the Idu and his children, all right? The Idu and his children left. The Idu and his children, left this land to present-day Uhe, where they were. They spent quite some time, though. All right? They spent quite some time. Or maybe Idu and his relatives left Idu land. At that time, it's assumed that it was called Idu land. So they left this land and went to a present-day Kogi area, all right? Where it was now regarded, where the Beninese knew as Uhe. There is a story, there's a song. I don't know who can sing that song. You know, we have people that are quite older. They will know the song. I mean, one aso in one ugiso, you know. Or when I ask one, I can't remember, but the song is like Ogisori Uhe. Ori ke kuhere omonosia yo wa ona do huvi. Ogisori Uhe. You know, we must have to get some of these things. Ogisori Uhe. Oke kuhere omo oyomonosia yo wa ona do huvi. What it means, 2 or 3 things we can derive from it is that the Ogisos of the old were going on a pilgrimage station. We are going to Uhe. And they were not spending days or weeks. They were spending years at Uhe. So that means a place where you conveniently will be spending years is likely to be your second home. It's likely to be your second home. Ogisos, almost all the Ogisos, 90% of all the Ogisos, embarked on that journey of traveling to Uhe. So that is why I quarrel at all times with our historians who now said or who now mistook Uhe for Ile-Ife. I quarrel with them because Ile-Ife was never part of our extant history until Oromiyan, Oduduwa Oromiyan happened. But the history that was passed down for generations upon generations were that the Ogisos, the earliest Ogisos of that era, were already going to a place called Uhe. And at that time of history, the place Ile-Ife was not in existence. So then, how come the Uhe is not being mistaken by Ile-Ife? All right? This is what I'm going to prove. This is how I'm going to prove how it will be. Okay, do both. Da, la, 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 la. Okay, you've heard of the song of Moyege say, thank God. I will jump. I will remind you, some of the older people on this platform should be able to have heard of that song. It's a popular song. Ogisori Uhe. You understand? Okay, Kuheri. You know, some of these songs are going into extinctions. But some of these, I've said it before, a lot of these songs has a key on unfolding or in dissecting some of our history. I'll give you an example. When Dr. Aisha Hagosa when Dr. Aisha Hagosa was about to write a particular book, The Benin Pilgrimage Station. All right? No. Was it Benin? No, not Benin Pilgrimage Station. It was Elegbe. All right? Elegbe. Okay? Elegbe, the Prince of Benin and the Orion territories. When he was about to write the book, he had interviewed one of the old women in Ezomon's house. One of the old women in Ezomon's house. He personally told me that story, that he was interviewing them. In course of them, they was now started to sing because they wanted to get a particular, because that Prince Elegbe story revolves around Obaehem Buddha, because it was Obaehem Buddha that went to retrieve the Ugu kingdom and connect it back to Benin Kingdom, because they were a breakout kingdom from Benin Kingdom, and they had existed independently for almost 300 years. So the Oba that went to retrieve the Ugu kingdom went to defeat the Ugu people and restore them by birth or by ancestry. I'm also from the defunct Ugu kingdom, because all of the people in Iyekoreon are from the defunct, was controlled by 300 years. Were controlled. We had our king, and it was called Obanugu. All right. Some of us should have known the story of a person called Obanugu and all of that. Obanugu was not in Umogu Nohua. That's what a lot of people do not know. The headquarters of the Ugu kingdom was what it is now called Umogu Nehere or Umogu Nozwagbo. Nozwagbo. Okay. You understand? So, okay. So it was when during the time we were trying to interview some questions about Buddha, that was when one of them sang a song talking about the princely years of Buddha, and it talked about, the song was about Odiawato, who was a prince, and all of that. That was when he now knew that the princely name of Obaehem Buddha was Odiawato. Edo Erae. Ehem Buddha's father was Obaorogboa. The name that he gave to his first son was Odiawato. Before now, no Benin history was able to know what was the princely name of Obaehem Buddha. So, but through that song, he now knew that Oeni Neramu Neokerioba. So I'm just trying to use I'm just trying to use I was just trying to use a lot of I'm just trying to use examples and all of that. So, but songs could unveil the secret about a particular history or a particular era of any of the kings. All right. So that's also what the songs did, encoding the secret of what Uhe was to the Benin people. So Uhe couldn't have been a town that was created by Oduduwa or Romayan when the Benins of old was already recorded in the time past to have been traveling to a place called Uhe. Ugi sorry Uhe. So I also remember that song, but it's beautiful. We have to all remember that song. Ugi sorry Uhe. So it's a beautiful song. So eventually Idu and his siblings, they all went towards. Now, there's another part of our history that was written by Omudia Montaigne, who is one of my mentors, far back 2005. I had met with him. Well, I didn't know 1/10 of what I know today. If it was now, I would have asked him even more questions that could have made him to unveil some secrets. He did believe that not all Idu people traveled to her. Some remained in Edo land or Idu land. Some remained. Not all traveled. Some remained in Edo land. So those ones that remained, evolution took place. And the evolution that took place, the situation then became arboreal. That's what it was explaining to me. But it might be, it's an hypothesis, but I think something we could look at. Some of the Idu people that didn't travel with the Idu party to her, they were believed to have been, some of them became, evolution took place and they became arboreal because they were not staying on top of trees. So it sort of had affected their heights. All right? A lot of you might not believe this, but maybe I will have to bring another part of our history that can make you believe this. Okay? I'm coming. I also got that one from Dr. Aisen's work. All right? You know, Dr. Aisen is a medical doctor. He believed that the Benins of old were very huge and tall. All right, we started reducing in heights when Obarugba introduced salts into our delicacies. Even in my I heard we're not using salt until Obarugba went to Lagos and came back. The story of Orogwa Nogbol Olagwe, Ogigbolagwe, Honari Ube, Ubabe Abi Ube Ho, Yaz Ume Kekore. There's a talk like that. I've forgotten when Edo Yazitani, but it was a story of how Obarogba killed Olagwe and used his sword to bring salt to Benin, introduce salt into our cuisine. Otherwise, in Maya there was made from I was told, or the novel, the ripe. I think people always learn from my platform. Ripe plantain, all right. It will be dried, or the novel ado kai, agai kai do kakakabo, ado loy. You understand? The powder was used as salt. Was used. We're talking about 500-600 years ago. But that was prior before the era of Urugba, when Urugba was not the one. So he said that because of that, I've forgotten the name of I've forgotten the name of that cuisine. So he said that when we started taking salt, it affected our height. Otherwise, the Benins of old were very lanky and we're very tall. We're huge and tall people. All right. So I don't want to get distracted. So, but I just wanted to use that to make people understand where I'm coming from. Why I cannot technically run this Umudiag Mountain, an historian too, Dr. Umudiag Mountain's theory off. Obu, I think, yes, I think it's Obu. You are correct, Ogi, Prince Ogi. I think Obu. So why cannot completely roll? According to what Umudiag Mountain told me, that not all of the Idu people had traveled or had left Benin, all right, and went to Uhe. Those one who stood back, evolution happened and they became dwarfs. They became dwarfs. They became short. You know the way they are. And Eduna, remember the song? Idigwe wanae. Idigwe wanada. Who can sing that song? I'm taking you guys to a very old history of the Benin people. There's a song like that. I think, I know all of these songs. You people should. A lot of you people should know these songs. Exactly. Now, understand this. The Benin people are one of the smartest people on earth. So they decode or encode their history on songs. If we can remember all our songs, we can remember all of our history. What does it mean? You don't know what they are. Because they were so short. When we are digwenia, you become short. Because they were short. All right? Because they were short, the Benins were trying to now explain that these Iweneka, they are dwarfs. You understand? Further now saying Idigwe, you will not ask what kind of Iweneka and Idigwe and all that. They're trying to use Idigwe. When you kneel down, you become short. They were trying to tell you that they were short creations. They were dwarfs. Ha. Exactly. So, Umudia one time proposed that some of the Idu people that didn't travel with the Idu party, all right, where evolution occurred, they became arboreal, and as a result of that, they became dwarfs. They became dwarfs. They are not from Congo. They are not from any of the Congo-Bissau, all right? They were part of Benin people that were dwarfs originally. That were dwarfs originally, all right? All right. It's an interesting aspect of our history. I love it's complicated. That's why I know people want to people want something that is more interesting. But I just hope I'm able to make it as interesting as possible so that we don't get bored by it. All right. The Idu party was at the wear and all of that. So I had to talk about some certain things that not happened. There you go. Okay, so a lot of that. Aha. To the talk hard though. Talking for almost an hour now. I'll be an hour, exactly an hour. Let me pause. Let me take like 5 minutes pause. So if you have any questions, our line are open. You can call. If you know the song, you can sing and call through, so that we can have open lines for people to call through and have beautiful, beautiful songs. So, and all of that. So anybody can call through and sing the song for us and contribute and ask whatever question possibly you can ask. I'm sure that if I don't know it, it could span me to make more research. No, but don't worry, I'll finish the whole Idu story. So I'll finish the whole Idu story at Uher today. Maybe I have to do another extra 30 minutes today so as to wrap up Idu. Then probably next week we'll not talk about not WhatsApp. It's an open line. It's pinned. It's pinned on your screen. There's an open line. It's an open line. You can pay. I can't use WhatsApp. Now my WhatsApp phone, I say they do live video that. It's a telephone. Me I say here na moyowa. Landline. Oh, I get it. Talk not easy. All right, I think I'll have to continue. I'm already exhausted actually. I'm already exhausted actually. Our songs, parables, artifacts, and language tells our history and who we are. Yeah, most especially our songs and parables. Artifacts became later years. All right. So when we moved from using songs and parables to tell our history, we started using artifacts or started using artifacts, ivory carvings, bronze castings, wood carvings, iron medicine, and all of that. I can't do a WhatsApp call. It is credit to do what? Can't do a WhatsApp call. Okay. Now, when the Idu and his party got to uh, Uher, when they got to Uher, they obviously created a shrine where they'll be worshiping God Almighty. And they called that shrine Awogene. Alright? There were still, what happened to the dwarf after the flooding was gone? There were still parts of Benin for a very long time, to even recently. A lot of people who grew up in Benin sometime 100 years ago and all of that, there were still a lot of dwarfs in Benin that were not from the Congo region. They were aboriginally from Benin town. They are aboriginally from Benin town. All right, evolution took them out eventually. I don't know whether they're still here, whether it was the ones that eventually came from other places that are now presently in Benin. But I was told that there were still some dwarfs of Benin origin that traces their ancestry as far back as you can trace your ancestry far back, coming from Benin, that were here not too long ago. But it is expected that after some time, evolution took place too. A lot of these people couldn't survive these, couldn't survive and they went into extinction. All right. So it is believed. Well, it's hypothetical, like I said in the first place, that Ipomodia Montaigne told me all of that in 2000 and did I say 2005 before? No, it's 2015 or 2005 where I did. I just come out for secondary school. So it's not 2005, it's 2015. 2000, uh, uh, why not? I'll be very privileged. Bama will show more info. I'll be so privileged. So if it's getting to that time, just let me know. I can get my camera crew to go document whatever, all of that you get. Oh, I'm a bit tired. Okay. Oh. So, oh well, when that time is almost 9. When that time is almost 9, you can give me a call. You can let me know anytime that the festival, so I could go spend time with those old people. You understand? I could go spend time. I'll be so happy to learn a lot, to learn quite a lot about a lot of our aspect of our history. I'm not aware. I'll be so privileged, not just lucky. I'll be so privileged to go. I will just find that time. Outside work, I don't spend my time doing any other thing. So I'll just go do that. But anyway, I think even me safe, I escaped dwarf. Oh, that means you shot well. You send your picture, come so that Musam how you say escape dwarf. See, even me said me I escape dwarf. You send picture. Uh, I think I'm already. I'm just gonna. Okay, you can ask questions. I'm just gonna hold on. I'm too tired to continue with the class, but you can ask question for me to just play with. And next week Sunday, I think I might not be too tired. I will be able to be through with Idu and all of that. I will establish a shrine called Awogene and all of that. All right. Then I created a chief priest. I think I've talked about it one of our class called Azama. Eventually, when the other tribes that also came to Uhe were not trying to, they were not ethnic rivalries or tribal rivalries. They were no longer comfortable that the Idu people were totally in charge of it. So when Idu died, it was not deified. All right, so the Idu children needed to leave Uhe back to their original abode, all right, which is Edo land. So it was during that time that the Efa, emehi, and all of that happened. It's a very intriguing story, but we'll take it. It doesn't matter if they don't, even if they don't accept cameras. I would just all of the things I would put it in my head, and I will even make a better story out of it, because I will not look at it with an open mind. You know, we get in mind when our people take the look at, like, for example, how do I put it? For example, there's a particular history of why going to heaven and all of that. All right, okay. But the truth was that he not really go heaven. He went to the island of Sao Tome. I think we have our first call. Went to hello. Hello. Okay, sorry, we lost that. So you can call again. Yeah, I'll just do audio, and once they tell me the story, I'll keep it in my head, and I'll make a better story of it. Exactly. Oh, it's festival. It doesn't matter. I won't. No wahala. We can do with that. We can do with that. Did Paidu did Paidu return back to Idula? No. No, 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 no. Omoige said Paidu never returned. He died and was buried there. Alright? it is in the remembrance of serving Idu that an ancestral shrine was now created called Eimidu. No, no, no. Understand? Ogbamudia Glory, he said, please, did any of the Paidu son live and die in any of the Esan territory? No. I know the elder son died in Edo North, correct? Why the last one who took the mantle? No. It was not. The elder son that died in Edo North was called Akka. All right? It was one of the sons of Akka that left to Udo, present-day Udo. The other two immediate younger brothers of Akka that died in present-day Edo North are called Effa and Emehi. Two of them accompanied by Azamanuhe. That is the secret. Let me tell you the secret. Udo and Edo has always been fighting right from the days of the Ogisos. The reason, one reason, I be say I don't want to talk about, make I give una for free. Make I knock on this fat for free. The reason Udo could not defeat Edo is because of Azamanuhe, the staff of authority of Paidu, Edo Abai, Eudo, Edo Abai, Edo Abai, Eudo, Edo Abai, Eudo. So that's why all throughout Udo and Edo fought hundreds of war or tens of war. They could not defeat Edo because the staff authority, the blessing of all of their father, the Effa and Emehi, had it. All right? Akka died in Edo North. His sons, all right, went to Udo, all right, and tried to convince the Azamanuhe. But Azamanuhe did not follow them. Azamanuhe was the chief priest of the Ogene shrine that was established by Idu at Uhe, present-day Kogi State. All right? That Azama took the staff of authority and Abai Edo, or is still there till date. So nobody can take the authority of Edo from Edo. That is the secret. Emini dunhume enori du sekbe ogwedo eri yowe. I be one mention where the for siam now. Now where awojini adwemu. Anyway, they kind of it's not even physical. All right. When you go to the Oloton compound, you will see a shrine on front of Oloton. It's called Azamanuhe. Azamanuhe was the chief priest of the Ogene shrine that was created by Idu at Uhe. The staffini, Omekenoye, that is the staff of authority that is bequeathed to Edo. That is bequeathed to us. And that is why we will always be the top. And now where? Benayawe. And now where? Benayawe. I heard a lot of people have been contesting. Why be like say na they get everywhere. That is the singular reason. That is the history. That is the authority that we have. That every other persons who are related to Idu, the secret, that are no longer of Benin, probably other ethnic groups that are now from Benin, or that are not classified as Benin descendant, has not been able to usurp that authority from Benin, because the staff of authority is still here and well here until eternity will always be here. Then it tash away on now to tell me where I will voice. No, that is because the concept of Edu, at the time, we only call it a donut. All right, there were no people there at that time of history. The history we are talking about, Joseph Ebomien, the history that we are talking about is not 2,000 years ago. It's not 3,000 years ago. It's not 4,000 years ago. It's the very beginning of our history. We're talking about someone like 10,000 years ago or so. It's the history long before we ever started to say we want to have anything that has to do with Ogiso or have anything that has to do with Oba and all of that. So there were no people in those areas at all to carry that. All right, but he had a progeny, he had sons, the Akka guy that is believed to die in present-day Edo, not believed. All right, it's speculative history. They might have even died in Kogi State, but it's believed to have present-day Edo. It's speculative history. It might not have been true. It might even die in his present-day Sanland, or he might have died in present-day Benin land. All right, speculative history. But he died. But his sons were trying to take his corpse to Udo. All right, but they couldn't, because the scepter of authority was now bequeathed to his younger brothers, Effa and Emehi. All right, every Benin man is either an Effa person and Emehi. I've said it before. So that is why I feel so ashamed. I feel so angered when some useless people called Ogiami are now saying that they own Edo land. How can these people own Edo land? The family that is just about 1,000 years ago. What about the families that have been existing as old as 10,000 years ago? Where do they now own? The sky? You understand? The sky? All right? Is it the sky? So all of these, because we've not been asking, we've not been asking a lot of questions, and that's why a lot of these things seems like skyrocketing science. But the bottom line is this, all right? A part of the Akka line formed some part of Urobo land. I think I've explained it, but in our next class, I will give more details about that. Well, no one is a fake. Everyone will not claim the everyone will keep being the fake. It do has a lot of lines. It do have 3 branches. There are 3 branches of Edu. The Akka branch, the Effa branch, and the Emehi branch. Funny enough, the Benin people, the present-day Edosa people, owns these 3 branches. The Akka branch of the Udo, and the Effa and Emehi branch of the Edo. So every other persons came from these 3 branches. And these 3 branches are us, and every other persons that came from us. So I don't think there should be even controversies about all of these things. He do have 3 sons and about 4 daughters. I'm not going to concentrate on the daughters. It's Akka, Efa, and Emehi. The story remembers that. Anybody who wants to lie, let them go and lie. Let them tell us what Efa means. Let them tell us what Emehi means. Let them tell us what Akka means. Oh. So basically, these are parts of a lot of our history that we must now critically look into and divulge the true extent of its uh, of its of its of its widespread meaning. So, but to be frank, I'm quite very pleased that we're learning so fast about our history, and it gets a lot of them very angry. All right, it gets a lot of them very angry. All right, so yeah, Paido had 4 daughters. 4 daughters. 3 sons, 4 daughters. 3 sons, 4 daughters. So it's wrong. It's wrong for anybody to just. We also kept it. No, that's what people don't understand. I want to. There's this particular history I wanted to talk. One of these days, I'm going to talk about a particular Benin history where I will unveil. I'll say Benin. How am I going to put it? I'm going to give you the very catching topic. The catching topic is going to be the old Benin story, the old Benin history versus Obaisigi. A lot of people will not understand what I meant. All of these things were completely, all right, affected during the reign of Obaisigi. Obaisigi was a reformer. He changed everything that made us Benin. He almost changed everything because he was a Christian. So being a Christian has so much disadvantages. Agwe Sanariuna. It was Agwogene. This Igwe festival we do. It was an appraiser of Ogene. Because that's what we knew him to be. Someone in place of authority, like a god. Is what you call Ogene. All right, someone in place of authority, someone like God, that's the person you call Ogene. All right, it was Esige that tried to blot Ogene out of our history and try to replace it with Osa. Instead, we now had an Agwogosa instead of Agwogene. It was Obaensoyen who saw the damages that Obaisege has done to Benin history, that he tried, but not entirely. The damage was already very severe. That tried to repair all of those damages by trying to introduce some of those things we were doing before Obaisege became the Oba of Benin. It's deep, very deep, Edo. Emehi. Efa and Emehi. They still have a direct family of this. These are the fathers of the Edo people, Efa and Emehi. I think La Mehi and La Gefa. The head of the Efa family is, what's his name again? Ogiefa Nozeben. Is the head of the Efa family. Then, but the one that has more role to play historically is Ogiefa no Mwekbo. Awe Eminorekbo or Magion. It's a secret. There's a secret in the bag that the Ogiefa no Mwekbo carries that Edo still do not understand. There's a secret of ownership. And I keep, some of this, I came in, say me, causes a lot of all of this. So it gets me angry that, it gets me angry that a lot of our people are aware of this story, but they are not even speaking out. How can one unknown family like Ogiame come out and start claiming ownership of Edo land when the Efa family are there? I just gave you a secret. Ogiefa no mwekbo, awe no rekbo, omagedo. There's a secret of ownership of the land. There's an interaction. There's a secret of that ownership of the land that happens between him and the Oba every year. The thing they make me vex. So ave manima say ma varie do well because ave manigile nyautedo, they are not speaking. All of those bastards, the girls say I not come from Efa or emehi family. I am just in the area court here. But anyway. That kind of bad guy. He's a polygamous man. He's a very polygamous man. So, but anyway. So I think there was one of our papa that used to join our program. I've not seen him for a while now. I think he said he was traveling out of the country, but I don't think he has returned. He's a direct lineage of the emehi family, the Efa or the emehi family. I told him that I wanted to come see him so that I can have a more robust historical conversation with him. I need to know some very secrets that the Efa and of those emehi family knows that they know. It will be very robust to our futuristic history. Some of these things, some of these things. So it will be very yielding. To have some of these. Yes, obviously, Urobos are the first. I've said it a couple of times. Are the first classified Benin descendants that left. They're the first, and don't forget. I think I've said it. A lot of people do not know. Ogisho Igodo first son was the first Ovie of Ugeli. Ogisho Igodo first son was the first Ovie of Ugeli. It was the first son of Ovie of Ugeli that came back to Benin to become the second Ogisho, known as Ogisho E. Ogisho E is a grandson of Ogisho Igodo. Ogisho Igodo Ogisho Igodo direct son, all right, was the first Ovie of Ugeli. So Ovie Ugeli's first son now came back. You see that history. Ugeli, not Ugeli. There's Ugeli now. I don't know whether it's Ugeli. I think that's LLI. So I really don't know whether Ugeli is in this or not. I think the Ugeli I know is in is honorable land. I beg. After you pass Warina, pass Warri, if you dey go Bayelsa, when I there, our motor they always stop now. When would they go Port Harcourt? Really? Mm-hmm. They will be of that really. You understand? So anyway, uh, I'm running on now. I want to thank all of you that joined joined me live, and we um, can discuss further on some next week Sunday by the same time 7:30. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. It happens sometimes. Uh, so discuss sometime next week Saturday Sunday by 7:30. Then I'm a bit tired. So I thank all of you who has joined me right from the very beginning of this today's program. I'm sure that we had some informations that are quite very robustful that could have furtherly enriched our private libraries and enriched us more in understanding some very vital aspects of our history. So I thank all of you. Waya West. So Oba Atokwe, he said. So I'll see you guys next week Sunday. By 7:30. By 7:30. Thank you.